Monday, the 6th of July, 2020. We're here at the Palmetto Point, just coming from the PLH checkpoint. We were denied entry into that area, and so we are now forced to go through the sand dunes in order to make our way down to the beach. I'm here with George Wenner and his children, my child as well. So we wanted to get to the beach on Palmetto Point, denied entry through the public road, and now we have to make our way over the Palmetto sand dunes to get to the beach. While walking, I'm going to give you an idea of the lay of this terrain. Right, what we're focusing on here is one of the Barbuda orchards. Now, one would be surprised to see that orchards can grow under these conditions. So this is a particular type of orchard. Notice the purple flower is specifically adapted to grow in this environment where you have high temperatures, extreme dryness, and miraculously, this plant is adapted to grow under these conditions. I want to point this out because these are the types of biodiversity we will be losing as a result of that destruction to satisfy somebody's fantasy of creating an exclusive residential community for the rich and the wealthy. So as Barbudans and the world at large, we have to defer their expecting. Get rid of these wonders of nature. That's what biodiversity is all about. And we have to make way for them. So we're walking through the vegetation on top of one of the sand dunes, the remaining sand dunes. And what I want to point out is the nature of this vegetation. It is adapted to grow under these conditions. And the services they supply, taking carbon out of the air, stabilizing the land here, okay, essentially creating an ecosystem which all works out to protect Barbuda, to satisfy wildlife, water birds, a whole host of organisms, animals and plants. So when we talk about an ecosystem, this is what it's all about. And as humans, we have to remember that nature, we are a part of that thing called nature. And anything which is done to harm, to destroy that nature, since we are part of the ecosystem, we are going to be affected as well. So as Barbudans, we depend on these wild areas. That is why we have such a healthy fisheries. Lobster, conch, fish. That lagoon forms the breeding ground that serves the entire Eastern Caribbean in terms of those species. So this system here, the Palmetto sand dune system and the unique wetlands that you find in here, this actually is connected to the frigate bird sanctuary, the clear lagoon waters, the tasty lobster and fish that we depend on. And those things I'm talking about is the foundation of our tourism. What we need to recognize is what is going on. Persons that can only be described as greedy because they want to enjoy a particular lifestyle. They want to do it at the expense of everyone else. So this morning we came down to get to the beach, one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and here is what we were told: you cannot pass here. There's a gate, security people, and they're telling us we cannot pass here. So at this point, Barbudans, they need to recognize, all of us need to recognize that something precious is being taken from us. In this world, and considering our history, we know what it means for things that we hold precious to be taken from us. And in 2020, this 21st century, and all that is happening in the world with regards to the Black Lives Matter movement, people being outraged as to what is happening to black people. We are facing this in Barbuda. Okay? So we're making our way down to the beach since we have been denied access through our own road. And I want you to see this. This is the top of the sand dune. Let me look back where we came, and in the distance you can see some palm trees and the top of an excavator. All those things, the plan is to remove. What we're looking down into right now is a set of mangroves that is between the sand dunes. That's buttonwood and the mangroves. Those form part of the wetland, the natural systems that exist on Palmetto Point. So we're seeing a lot of poles sticking out in the air and survey markers which indicate the plan that these people have. They're going to take all this from us as Barbudans, and they're going to make it exclusive. In other words, unless you are a member of the club, unless you own one of the multi-million-dollar homes, you will be excluded from this area. This is one of the marker poles that they put down to mark out what they claim to be theirs. So we're coming to the edge of the sand dune. Notice the lay of the land, the type of vegetation. We have the torchwood. This particular plant is called the torchwood. And one of the reasons it's called torchwood, throughout historical times, the first peoples that live here were the indigenous people. They were linked to the South American indigenous people. This particular plant, its wood especially has in a lot of resin, and once it's lit, it continues burning. So this is one of the torchwoods. There are at least 3 varieties of torchwoods, and they were used by indigenous people in terms of providing the need for cooking and that sort of thing. So more of the orchids, sea grape, a type of species we call the candlewood. Okay, and in between that you can see specks of the flowers, the beautiful pink orchid flowers in between those. Remnants of the sand dune. You know, so it looks like rock, but it's not actually rock, it's consolidated sand. And we're coming now to the edge of the beach. All this is prime turtle nesting site, and one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. As a Barbudan, I will say that. And this is what we have been denied access for. So here we see the children, these visitors, George Wenner and his children. They are visitors here to Barbuda, and it's the first time they are being exposed to what a pristine beach looks like. So if you notice the water, right, the most beautiful hues that you can find, this is precious to us as Barbudans. And not many persons have the privilege of being able to witness what we're seeing here. Look at this pink sand, the only unique thing in the world in terms of how the kind of beauty that you expect. So essentially, we have been stopped from accessing this piece of paradise here. And I need to remind persons of that word. PLH, peace, love and happiness, that's the trade name by which they go. And what they're doing, they are taking our peacefulness, because by taking away these areas from us, they are basically denying us the peace that we have traditionally lived from. We cannot be happy after persons would have come and taken all this from us. And the kind of people who would do that, they have no love for us. So that is the meaning of peace, love and happiness for them, not for us. Okay. In the distance you can see Palm Beach, what we call Low Bay, and right sitting on the corner there is what was formerly the Lighthouse Bay Hotel. Now that is the cause for the breach in the lagoon, which remains open now going on 3 years after Hurricane Irma. And it stands there as testimony to what happens when man believe they can mess with nature, interfere with the normal way in which nature operates. And that's exactly what we fear in terms of this development, so-called development that they're doing down here. This is the kind of thing we want to prevent, and that is why the area is a category 2 protected area under the Biodiversity Convention and also the Ramsar Convention, denoting a wetland of international significance. The beauty of this environment here, and this is what we are fighting as Barbadians to protect. We will not tolerate all these things taken from us in the name of development to allow a bunch of rich persons, money rich persons, to take this away and enjoy it while we are denied and put in danger.